everyone. This is PHTV4. I'm Sue Jankowski. Welcome to Meet with Moraine. Moraine Valley College is in Palos Hills, just right around the corner. We get together with them every single month where we find out all kinds of great stuff that is going on over there. You've probably been over there. I'm guessing it's been there forever. If you haven't been over there, you've got to drive over there and walk around the campus, enjoy the performances there, take a class. And that's why we bring you this program, so you can find out what kinds of things can you get involved in, what kind of career path for you or someone that is in your family or someone you know can get involved in. And I think today will be so interesting for you because we've never discussed this before for sure. So before I tell you what it is, we have two great guests here today. We have Tracy Hall, who is right next to me. Welcome,
Hello,
Tracy, to the program today.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thanks for coming in.
Yes.
She is the program coordinator of the Sleep Technology Program. And Justin Bugayung, next to her, is a student at Moraine Valley, and he is working in that Sleep Technology Program. And actually, I think he's kind of sleepless right now because he's been working real hard at that. I think it's so interesting to find out about sleep because all of us, need it, do it, and a lot of us have problems with it. And that is, I think, what we're going to be talking about today. So I guess before we get started, Tracy, it would be nice for our audience to find out a little bit about you. How did you arrive at Moraine Valley?
Yeah, it's been a long journey, actually. I was just telling you before we got started, I'm not from Illinois. My husband is. I'm actually from New Orleans, Louisiana.
Oh.
We've been living in Austin, Texas for about the past 11 years or so, and it was a total accident how I even got into sleep. I thought I was going to apply for a office manager position. In Texas, they were looking for someone who was bilingual and spoke Spanish, which I did not and still do not, unfortunately. I would love to learn one day. Gotta find the time.
Yes.
And they offered me to come and shadow a sleep tech and see if I would enjoy doing that. And I did it, and I kind of fell in love with it. And then I just kept going further and further until I became a registered sleep tech. And some life circumstances brought us back to Illinois to come and take care of some family. And I saw a position open for an instructor at Moraine. And I said this would be very interesting because just before I left, they were opening a school, a sleep technology school in Temple. And I knew someone working there, and they asked me if I was interested. I was like, yeah, I'm definitely interested, but I'm moving, so it wouldn't work out.
Bad timing.
Got here, and they had a position open, and I applied for it. And I don't know how, but I landed.
And here you are.
Here I am. And I've learned so much about the school and so much about even more about sleep since I've been working here. And it's been a great joy for me, yeah.
Well, that's wonderful, and I'm glad you told that story because I think there's a lot of people who are thinking about what am I going to do? What am I interested in? And they don't know yet.
Yes.
And that is a story, again, that affirms that you don't have to know. Your life changes, things, new interests arrive, and you need to follow that path too. So I think that's a nice inspirational story. And Justin, you're in the Sleep Technology Program, as we have established. Why did you choose that program particularly?
Well, it's pretty interesting. Both my parents are in the healthcare fields. My mom's a nurse, my dad's an x-ray tech, so I've heard plenty of stories about broken bones and bodily fluids. So
Yes.
I partly knew I wanted to go into the healthcare field, but I didn't want to deal with any of that. So one day scrolling through Moraine's website, looking through all the programs, I stumbled across the Sleep Technology Program, did a little bit of research. I discovered that it's a 2-year associate degree program. I figured that's, 2 years. So it's a long time, but, compared to other career choices, it's pretty relatively short. It has a great job outlook. There's a lot of travel opportunities that I noticed, and I'm a big fan of traveling, so I thought that would be good. I'm naturally a night owl as well, so I figured the night shift would work well for me, and there's always opportunities for day shift if I wanted to transition out of the night shift. There was a lot of different appealing aspects of the sleep technology program that drew me in, so I figured why not give it a shot?
Why not? And I like how you, again, saw what your parents are doing and said, well, I like the health care, but not so much the, gooky part of it.
Right.
So I'm not going to
Great
do
way to
that.
put it.
I think that's really terrific. And I like how you also evaluated all the good parts that you would enjoy, and it lent itself to that, whether it's, the shift you would be on or the ability to travel or whatever. That's great too. And I think that's nice for people to know too, as you grow and you find out more about careers, you can get that one that fits you the best. Okay, now, I guess we'll go back to you, Tracy. So we want an overview of the sleep technology program at Moraine Valley. And I'll be honest with you, I had no idea. I mean, I know people go to sleep clinics and all of that, but I didn't know there was something right there at Moraine Valley.
Right
so
here.
Tell us all about it.
Right here in your own backyard.
I know.
Actually, one really interesting fact about the program here is that we are the only accredited sleep technology program in the state of Illinois.
Oh my gosh.
Yes, and there are only about 38 programs who are accredited, and one of those 38 is right here at Moraine Valley. So that's a really good point that we have for students who, now we're asking students to look into the programs that you want to go to, especially in healthcare. You want to make sure that they're accredited and that they have everything that they need. It's a reputable program. And we have that at Moraine right around the corner. And as Justin said, it's a 2-year program currently right now that students can take. One of the things that we tell them right when they come into orientation is just be prepared and know that it is a night job, primarily a night job. There are so many opportunities that you can move into, but coming into the program, know that it's a night job. There's some core curriculum that they have to go through for the program, which includes 3 semesters of what we call a clinical, which is kind of like an externship or where the students take what they've learned their first semester and they go to our clinical affiliate partners. So they'll go to Advocate, they'll go to whatever hospital we send them to, and they'll work 2 10-hour or 12-hour shifts. So that's one of the main things that I like to prepare students for when they are coming into the program, because they think that it's going to be all book work. We're going to do all this stuff, write it down, and we're going to learn how to do it. Yeah, but one of the most important things with life is application.
Right.
So I try to prepare them to let them know we're learning, absolutely, but then now you step in to apply. And I know some students are like, oh, I'm not ready because I have to, touch patients now, or, like now it feels like it's real, but that's a part of your vocation. That's what we do. So I like to prepare them to say, hey, you're going to work 2 10-hour shifts or 2 12-hour shifts, so be prepared to do that. Everyone says they're a night owl, right? And so you have to work it. And then when you're working it,
like,
it
it's
can
really
be
long.
It's really long. Every time about 2:30 or 3 o'clock, you're like, gotta get up, gotta take a walk. So, and we also do some training and talking in class about that type of stuff. When I take a break, I have my students take a break. We get up, we will walk through, because we're located in the B building. We'll walk the B building and the L building where the library is and the A building, and we'll come back just to stretch and catch our breath, and just to get them in the practice and habits of having good, we talk about good sleep habits, but also good work habits while you're working at night. So that's just some of the things that we'll touch.
And that's really good for them, the students, to know that this is what it's all about. And especially becoming familiar with, a hands-on to another person. I mean, we're all kind of in our own little space.
Right.
And I think the person doing the hands-on is much more difficult than the person accepting the hands-on. So that's a great experience to have too. That's great. Okay, so according to the Institute of Medicine's Committee on Sleep Medicine and Research, it's estimated 50 million Americans chronically suffer from sleep disorders or wakefulness. And as we all know, if you're not sleeping well, you're not functioning very well. You might think you are. I mean, I've had friends who say, oh, I need 5 hours a night. Yeah. And I'm like, I don't think so, because every time I'm at a movie with you, you're sleeping the whole time. So I think you need more than that.
Right.
And also, it's mentioned longevity, which every article I read about health concerns, whether you're eating properly, exercising, they always mention sleep as one of the big components to longevity. So now, what does this address all of this in this sleep technology program? Like, what are you doing to evaluate how people are sleeping?
So, we address the prevalence of sleep disorders in the United States. We address issues like work safety issues from non-sleep. People that I know that say they sleep 5, they say, I have a functional 5. And I'm like, yeah, okay, let's see what your supervisor would say. And just like I'm very proud of, like Justin here, my student who just got off from work, but he was very responsible. He has what I call a designated driver, because driving drowsy is equally as dangerous as driving under the influence. So he has someone to bring him here after work so that he doesn't have to worry about staying up.
That's nice.
Right. So we address it practically in our own lives, and also through the curriculum that we have. And I would say that 50 million Americans, it sounds like a lot, but it's probably even more than that, because not everyone has sleep studies. Not everyone is actually diagnosed with it. But at some point in everyone's life, whether you're a new mother, whether you're older, younger, college age, especially college age, we've had issues with our sleep, and we just kind of pass it off, right? All of the articles that we read, they mention sleep, but then they like glaze right over it.
Right.
It's almost like it's there, but it's not a focus. And in the program, and with my students, I like for us to focus on the importance of sleep with comorbid issues, heart disease, diabetes, cancer, anything that you can think of. It's my belief, this is not the belief of Moraine Valley, but in my belief, I believe that everything should start with sleep, no matter what kind of ailment that you have. It should start with, let's check out how you're sleeping at night. Are you having drops in your oxygen? What's going on with your heart while you're sleeping? Because sometimes people will have AFib and not even know it, and then come in and we get to see their heart while they're sleeping, and then their doctors are like, okay, let's get you to a cardiologist. Maybe you should be seeing a cardiologist instead of a neurologist or a pulmonologist. So it's very interesting, and I look at it as research, right? We're looking at our patients every night, and everybody's different. We have patients that will snore. You can hear him from Moraine from here. You can hear him, and you would say, he's got sleep apnea, she's got sleep apnea, they have sleep apnea, because you can hear them snoring. And they're just loud snorers, and they may not show any apnea at all. So it's just exploring what the basics of sleep disorders and sleep disorder breathing looks like, and knowing that it doesn't look the same for everybody.
Okay, there's just so much to talk about here. So first of all, I'm going to swing back to Justin here for a minute. So Justin, you've been in the program for 2 years?
Correct.
Because you're just about done.
Well, graduating next month. Yes.
Next month, congratulations.
Thank you.
Okay, so you're already working, kind of? Or are you working at the school? Or are you working elsewhere? Or do you have opportunity to go elsewhere?
Well, kind of both. I was asked to work part-time while still completing the program at Advocate. So I'm employed by a hospital. I work employed by them while I'm still going to school and looking to transition to full-time after I graduate. So yeah, I am employed, not working for the school. I'm still attending school though.
Right. So job opportunities are really there.
Very there. Before I even finished my first semester, they offered me a job because sleep techs are in high demand right now.
High demand, that's a good thing.
And they're the management wants to cater towards you because they want to, integrate you fully into their team instead of you exploring another company or finding another job elsewhere, because they know the job outlook is very, accessible right now. So
that's great, because there's a lot of jobs that really aren't as accessible right now. So that's fabulous. So they kind of reach out to you and they try and get you to come to them. Okay, and would you say that's the circumstances you're working, the hours you're working, the people you work with, the people you're servicing, is that all what you imagined it would be?
Yes, I believe so. As Tracy was talking about, the clinical aspect of the program is basically everything you're doing employed as a job. So it very much prepares you for exactly what you're doing, which I found very, helpful. Basically everything I did during clinicals is everything I'm doing as I did last night and this morning. It's the same thing, but you just get better as the more experience you do.
Sure.
There's different tests that you may not be able to perform during clinicals that you do as employed, but basically it's the same.
Okay,
same
but you're
thing.
still learning. I mean, because,
of
and I'm
course.
sure there's different kinds of technologies that kind of change through time. We have this interesting figure here. And so I'm wondering, like, I guess, draw me a picture. When I'm going to, maybe I'm going to Moraine Valley to do a sleep study, would I be able to do that? I mean, do you have like recommendations? Do doctors send people to you, or does somebody say, "Hey, I'm just not sleeping very well. You can use me as a guinea pig. I'll do a sleep study with you." I mean, is that how this works? How does it work?
So for their first semester before they get to clinicals, around November, we have an all-call for volunteers to come in. And my students will do a full hookup, which is the EEG on down on the volunteer, and the volunteer gets to sleep for 2 hours. We kind of call it a nap for them, like, come and take a nap and let's see what's going on, you know, in your sleep. Now, we can't do a whole full sleep study. I wish that we had a sleep lab where we could. That would be amazing. But about 2 hours, 3 hours max we do. But before they get to the volunteer, they actually hook each other up. And that's why I think it's important to get the volunteer in, because they get so comfortable with one another. It's easy to put it on, you know, as classmates.
A friend, yeah.
Right? And then, but when someone else comes in, you're like stepping back, like, oh, okay, like this is the real, yeah.
This is real.
This is
Yeah.
real. So yeah, we do take volunteers, although it's not a full sleep study. We do take them around November to come in and let the students do a 2-hour nap for them.
Okay, which is why then they go out into whatever other facilities there are for the 10 to 12 hours to get another kind of experience.
Yes.
Okay, great. And so this kind of hookup is, I mean, it's important, right? Because we're monitoring their thinking, not their thinking, but their brain, I don't know, their
Yeah.
heart.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's not just on your head, right?
It's not just on your head. We just have a head sample here where you can see the EEG wires where we read the brain waves, and we can see what stages of sleep they're in, which is their stage 1, 2, 3 in REM, and of course there's wake. And then they have the nasal cannula. So this is the part that mostly everyone hates, especially in pediatrics. You have a nasal cannula in your nose, and it looks like it's giving you oxygen, but it's not. It counts on the computer every single breath that you take or that you miss. And the same thing with the thermistor that's right under it. So there's 2 things in the nose that people can't stand.
Yes.
But they count every single breath, the breathing through the mouth and the breathing through the nose. So this is how we can identify certain apneas or if people have stopped breathing. And then the part on the neck is a snore mic. Some people, you can hear them snore and you can just make your notation on it. But the snore microphone actually gives us a frequency on the computer so that we have hard evidence. So for the wives who said that they don't snore and the husbands are saying that they snore, we can be like, we have hard evidence here that you do snore or that you don't snore. And then we do monitor the heart. We have EKGs on the patients that we monitor. We monitor the rise and fall of the lungs of the patient, which is 2 respiratory belts, one across the chest and one across the abdomen. And then the leg wires. So if a patient has restless leg syndrome or what we call periodic limb movement, where when you're sleeping, you're not supposed to be moving, but some people have these muscle bursts in their legs, and we can see that on the computer as well, because some people will say, it feels like I've been running all night.
They kind of have been.
Yeah, they basically have been.
Wow,
Yeah.
okay, that's so interesting.
Yeah.
And then what remediation is taken for people who have any of these difficulties with their sleep?
So the most common is the CPAP. So the CPAP machine, CPAP or BiPAP is what we call the gold standard. If someone has a sleep disorder, sleep breathing disorder, you put the CPAP mask on them, and then we would do what's called the titration, where the tech will figure out which pressure is the best pressure to keep the airway open. So if you think about an apnea, think of a regular balloon that's closed, right? That's what an apnea does. It closes the airway. And when you blow air into that balloon, the balloon opens up. So the CPAP goes on the face, and while you're sleeping, it blows air into the upper airway, opening it so that it doesn't close. Just making it like it's stenting the airway open while you're sleeping.
Okay.
So that's the treatment, the gold standard treatment for sleep apnea. And then there's some new things out like Inspire. I haven't been in the clinic in a while because I've been teaching, so I haven't had hands-on training with Inspire. Some of my students have, and it's like I just say like a pacemaker device, I would say, that's implanted into the patient, and the chest area is
The right side of the chest.
in the right side of the chest, which provides a stimulation. I hate to say shock because people are like, you're shocking me.
Yeah.
But it provides a brief stimulation that will cause the muscles to like come alive and waking up on their own without the CPAP mask.
I see.
So there are other treatments like Inspire that are coming out as well. Now, as far as things like narcolepsy, those are generally done through a pharmaceutical intervention, where a patient will have to take some kind of medication to stay woke. And then there's therapies for insomnia, like CBTI therapy. So there's cognitive behavioral therapy that you would see through psychologists and psychiatrists, but they now have developed CBT training for insomnia that a patient can have. So there are a few different type of modes depending on what type of sleep issue a patient has.
Wow. Okay. So there's lots of opportunity to figure out exactly what you have. And I, as you started at the beginning, everyone who's snoring, people are like, you have sleep apnea. But that's not true, then is what you're saying.
No,
there could be, they're just snoring.
It could be their anatomy, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So, Justin, you said you're getting your associate's degree.
Correct.
And so everyone in this program is working on their associate's degree. Does that mean at the beginning you're taking like some general courses too?
There are some electives that are mandatory to, I believe, apply for the program. So like a math course, I believe you'd have to pass in order to apply for the program. Just a few prerequisites. And during the program, you're expected to take, let's see, there are some more prerequisites like Microsoft Office, like a healthy lifestyle class you can take, or you're supposed to take. Other anatomy classes you have to take. All classes that would help you in the field you're required to take that aren't specifically catered towards the sleep field that you'd have to take for the program. But as for me, I took a gap year after high school. I took probably like one math class before the program and one writing class before the program, and I was able to still apply and get into the program at sleep. So it's not too much you have to do before getting into the program. And I do like to mention too as well, a lot of the credits going towards the sleep technology degree also goes into the associate's degree for the general studies degree. So even if you complete the sleep technology program and you decide, it's not for me, you still have opportunity to have your associates in general studies, which is
That's great.
amazing.
it's basically it's free
It's a win-win.
because you're already doing all the work. So.
Right. And you may get into a program and feel like, oh, okay, this isn't what I thought. But you do have those credits, and that's nice. So you can
Exactly.
just kind of shift to something else that you want to. And it just seems like Moraine Valley just really has like an endless list of stuff
So
Yes.
that you can get involved in. Like if you just don't know what you want to do, there's just so many choices. Now, once you become like a sleep technician, am I using the right word for that? Do you like have to get more like credentials? Do you keep getting updated? I know for a lot of jobs, they want you to take some courses as you go along. Is it something that happens with that too?
Well, and this is something that I really appreciate, and I really hope that my students can get this from me as well, because students aren't always young and out of high school. Students can come into this program at any age and at any stage of life, whether they want to transition from a job that they were in, something a little bit less stressful, they can come in. And I like to tell my students, especially for me, when I got into sleep, I had some college, I had no degree. I had nothing background in sleep, and I worked my way up through to where I am now. And it took me years because I didn't know what I wanted to do, but I'm very grateful for community colleges like Moraine that have programs like this and makes it easier, especially for working adults and for people out of high school, whether they're taking a gap year or not, to get involved in a career that can be very lucrative and very rewarding and very low stress. So once a student finishes our associate's degree at Moraine, they are now able to sit for their board exams. and become a registered polysomnographic technologist, an RPSGT.
Wow. Okay.
It's a very long word, right?
I'm not going to repeat that.
But it's like being a registered nurse, right? So they're able to sit for their RPSGT boards as soon as they graduate, and which a lot of them they do. Hospitals will generally, I will say generally, require that you're registered to work in their system. Or they'll say, you know, we'll give you a year to get past the exam, because the exam, it can be pretty intimidating for people to take. It's like 250 questions on the exam in different like domains. So, you know, they give you some time to study and be prepared for it. But coming out of this program, my students, they know the knowledge. So it's just, I think, more of the psychology behind test taking that I think that students need to prepare for more when coming out of the program. So once they get their associate's degree, they can sit for their boards and become registered. And then there's also other credentials, like they can be certified in clinical sleep health, which is a new booming credential that they have, especially here in the Chicago area, because you can become a clinical sleep health educator now. You can be a hospital navigator for sleep. So you're educating patients. You're going throughout the hospitals and you're looking to see if you can identify patients who may need a sleep study. You do community service events. You can go to the schools and teach. You can go interdepartmental and interdisciplinary areas and educate nurses on the cardiac unit on what to look for their patient, or in ICU. So that's some ways that the students can start navigating through their associates, through their registry, through their certification in clinical sleep health. And I'm telling my students, you do not need a bachelor's degree, but once you finish this, you can go on to bachelor's degree programs, which there's only one that I'm aware of in North Carolina that's for sleep and EEG bachelor's degree. But it doesn't have to be. This opens the door for you to keep going through school if you want to. Move up into management. I've worked in research. We've talked about research. We've talked about forensic sleep, which is something that I think I'm going to start bringing to the table more for my students, because a lot of my students are enjoying the talks on people like committing crimes, but they were sleeping and stuff like that. Yeah. But then there are serious things like sleep deprivation with in police departments. Like our police need to make sure that they're getting sleep.
Right.
So it's such a wide range that they can go into. But as soon as they finish, they can sit for their board exams, and then the sky's the limit. And I'm always pushing them to go outside the box.
Do more. I'm just fascinated with all the branches from the tree that you could get into, and that's just so interesting. I didn't realize that there were so many facets. And I mean, I guess that would be true. I mean, we all have to do it, right? Yeah. We're all sleeping. Yeah. So that's wonderful. Okay, that's good. Okay, now you did a podcast with NOX Medical. Can you tell me what NOX Medical comes from?
Knox Medical is, I should have brought my notes here. They're a health-based company. They, I think, originated in Iceland, I believe, but they have operations in, I believe, Atlanta, Georgia, and Denver, Colorado, and they make specifically sleep diagnostic equipments. Oh. So basically, they are very big right now, I'd say, because they have very good innovations, integrating like technology like AI into their software. So picture, obviously, with all the equipments transmitting all the information, we have to have a big box that essentially translates that to the computer. And then that's how the sleep techs will be able to see that and see all the brain waves and all the breathing patterns, and then eventually we send that over to the doctor. So it's like a big machine that's in each room. The great thing about Knox Medical is it's wireless. It sits on the patient's chest, and you don't have to be attached to the wall like traditional machines do nowadays. So it's very innovative. We were very lucky to talk to them about their new products and their innovations in the field. And
okay. So that's kind of like a wave of new technology coming in that you were able to learn about. Exactly. So did you did a podcast with them. Were they like kind of instructing you as to, or just discussing this new way of doing things? Or were they, I don't know, were you telling them what you need and they were telling you what they have?
Well, Tracy had an amazing, this is another reason why Tracy's an amazing not only a teacher, but like I love her as a sleep coordinator because she comes up with these innovative ways to learn. But she has a program for us this semester to pitch, it's basically a product pitch, to pitch this new Knox medical device to convince her to buy it for Moraine, essentially. So we were able to interview the Knox medical team about their devices. They would tell us more about it, and then we'd gather that information to eventually have a product pitch for Tracy
Okay.
to buy
that product.
product, yes.
Well, that makes sense, because if you've got one of the only programs in the state, then you want to go forward and get that new technology as much as possible. So that's going to be great. I hope you cross your fingers. You get what you need.
I think it's pretty amazing. And one of the good things that I'm learning about being in academics is this notion of student pedagogy, where they join in and they talk to you and tell you. We collaborate. It's not just me being the instructor and saying this is what you're going to do, get it done. But we come together and you notice things about your students. So one thing with this specific project that for my students is I want them to increase their communication skills, right? Of course they can talk amongst each other and it's okay. And they know me now, right? So they're comfortable with me. So now let's go to the next level. How will you speak with board members? They came to our advisory board meeting, which we have once a year, which is very important for curriculum building and accreditation. They all came to the board meeting. They were able to speak in front of our deans, assistant deans, medical directors. Who else was there? Our advisors, our academic advisors were there, and they were in the room. Sometimes exposure is everything, right? Mm-hmm. So they were in the room, and they were able to speak in front of an audience in which they may have never been able to speak in front of. And the people that were there were listening to them, right? So I just want it to have other ways where I can see their communication skills and have them enhance their communication skills, because when they're done with this, you may need to go speak with the manager, or you may become a manager. So you need to know what it's like on both sides of the coin. And even something like this, like coming here and be able to sit down with you and articulate his ideas and speak out for the program, it's teaching him how to communicate and be an advocate for sleep technology at the same time. So that's some of the things that I enjoy and my students enjoy. And it's my hope that they will return to the program and want to teach. So, yeah.
Yeah, and that is so important, the communication. And because we have so many people using technology and not their voices to speak to one another, it's important that we get back to being able to have a conversation, ask questions, and find out the answers with actual, verbiage. So that's great.
Yes.
That's a really good thing. Okay, now Justin, you are starting a club, or did start a club, called the Sleep Science Society.
Yeah, it was definitely a team effort with Tracy and the rest of my classmates, but we hope to, as Tracy was saying, spread more awareness to the public, really, and gather more enrollments, because the sleep program is, it falls on deaf ears sometimes. I don't know if that's the right word, but it's hard to discover it without really know what you're looking for.
Yes.
So we just want to spread awareness for sleep as public health. We have some fun ideas, community service projects, fun maybe sleep hygiene workshops. We have a lot of fun ideas, hopefully, in the future for.
That's great. I mean, because nothing beats sleep, and you get to a point in your life. Remember the days. I do remember my days where I just I'm sleeping 12 hours, 14 hours because that's what you do, and then you get older and you're sleeping 6 hours, and you're like, oh, I'm awake. So it's really, really, really important. I'm glad that you're doing all the things that you are doing. Tracy, anything else you want to mention to our viewers?
Well, one thing that I would like to put out there is that we are having an open house at Moraine Valley, and specifically our health sciences department, where we are located, is having an open house. It's on April the 20th, and that is a Saturday, but our health sciences open house is from 11:30 a.m. to 1 p.m. We are in the B building on the Moraine campus. So I would like to invite everyone to come and stop by and come check out what health sciences has to offer, specifically with sleep. Don't sleep on sleep. That's what I always say. Come and see what the sleep technology program has to offer. We It's a rigorous program, but we like to have fun and we like to open the mind of our students and expand so many areas of the whole person so that we can have patient-centered care. I'm a student-centered care type of instructor, and I'm trying to teach my students how to be patient-centered as well, because that's the trend and that's where everything is going. And that's honestly where it should be. We should be centered on our patients. So come and check us out on April 20th at 11:30 to 1 p.m. in the B building, and we will love to see you there.
Okay. Well, you heard it. Go over there and check out the Science Center. Did I get that right?
Yeah, it's the Health Sciences
Science.
the fair, the
Health
open house
Science
fair.
Open House Fair. Go over there, April 20th. Justin, thanks so much for coming in.
Thank you so much for
So
having me.
interesting, and good luck in the future with all that you're going to be doing to help people.
Thank you. I
It's a
appreciate
helping
it.
job. Tracy, I'm sure you're just a fabulous teacher. You just communicate so well, and I can see that Justin really respects you, and I'm sure your other students do too. So if you want to get involved in something that's, helping, I think the helping professions are, you're kind of drawn to that if you're that kind of person, and this is definitely a helping profession. Go find out about it. I think you can just go to Moraine Valley EDU, right? And you can find it up there. Look at all the tabs and see what the health science
If you
is.
go into the search, you can type in, even in Google, you can type Moraine Valley Sleep Technology Program, or go under Health Sciences or Career. It's the career programs, and then you'll see sleep technology there. And if not, you can always just call and say, hey, can I speak to the sleep technology lady? And they'll send you to me, Tracy Hall. I'm easy to, if you know where the nursing is, you can find me, because we share a building with the nursing. That's where the biggest program probably is. So you can find me. I'm in the B building, but go to the website, just search Sleep Technology Moraine, and you will find me.
Good. And you can start this career at any age. So
Yes.
don't feel like you have to be,
Absolutely.
a certain age. You can just go on and have your second career, or maybe you just never got an opportunity to get that first career going. Anyway, thanks for joining us today, and I hope you found this as fascinating as I did. We'll see you next time on Meet with Moraine. Bye for now.